We begin with some breaking news. Three European countries have said they will recognize Palestinian statehood. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez made the expected announcement earlier in his country's parliament. Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre said the official recognition of Palestine by Norway and others will take effect on May 28th. Ireland's Prime Minister Simon Harris called it a historic day. In response, Israel says it's now recalling its ambassadors in Norway and Ireland. We'll have a listen to what the Irish leader said.
Today, Ireland, Norway and Spain are announcing that we recognise the state of Palestine. Each of us will now undertake whatever national steps are necessary to give effect to that decision. In the lead up to today's announcement, I've spoken with a number of other leaders and counterparts, and I'm confident that further countries will join us in taking this important step in the coming weeks. This is an historic and important day for Ireland and for Palestine.
Well, for more on this, we're joined from Brussels by our correspondent, Jack Perrick. Jack, 3 EU countries recognizing Palestinian statehood. What does this mean?
Well, at the moment, this is broadly a symbolic and political gesture by these 3 countries, but it is extremely significant. What we heard from the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez when he made the announcement, he said that the recognition of it's a recognition of the Palestinian people to their right to self-determination. The Irish Prime Minister Simon Harris, we just heard from, he said that permanent peace can only be secured on the basis of a free will of a free people. Essentially, what they're trying to do is show that their countries are committed to the two-state solution, where there is a Palestinian state, where the Palestinian people have self-determination. It's a big move, though, and as we've heard, the Israelis have already recalled their ambassadors from Oslo and from Dublin as well. And so this is quite a major step forward. We were expecting some other EU countries could potentially have made it, but we now know that it was Ireland, Spain and Norway, which is not an EU country, that have made this announcement today.
Well, what about the other EU countries? There are 27 in all. Could we see other countries coming on board with that soon?
Yeah, it was expected perhaps that Belgium would also agree to do this and to recognise Palestinian statehood. Now, there's questions about different procedures and legislative motions that need to happen in each individual country. The EU has quite a complex and difficult situation when it comes to the recognition of Palestine or a Palestinian state. The EU has for a long time campaigned for a two-state solution where there is a Palestinian state with self-determination for the Palestinian people. But as a whole, the EU doesn't recognise a state of Palestine, and that's very difficult for them to do. The only country that has done what has been done today in the European Union as an EU member country was Sweden back in 2014. Countries like Malta, Cyprus, Bulgaria, Czechia, Hungary and Poland, they had recognised the state of Palestine before they entered the EU. So this is a big step forward, though, and I think the signal of how big of a step forward it is this quite strong reaction from the Israelis. The Israeli Foreign Ministry saying that this move could fuel extremism and instability in the region.
What is it, Jack, that prevents countries from recognizing Palestinian statehood? How complex is that?
It is quite complex, but mainly for countries that are staunch supporters of Israel, countries like Germany, for instance. They would be nervous about the reaction that we are seeing to this, especially in the current climate after the October the 7th terrorist attack and the subsequent Israeli bombardment in Gaza. The question is, what exactly needs to shift diplomatically and in a foreign policy sphere for the European Union to get on the same page on this? It's quite significant. Well, as I said, they're trying to still uphold the idea of a two-state solution. We know that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that that's not possible. So the EU wants that to continue to be its policy. But how feasible is that? But countries like we've seen today, like Ireland and Spain, making this move shows that that is their staunch belief and that they will continue to press for that two-state solution.
Jack, thank you very much. Our correspondent Jack Perrick there in Brussels.